Every story holds somewhere a truth, and somewhere imagination. But today, the story I bring to you is based entirely on truth. This is the story of a painting, behind which hid a darkness that spread fear in every home. The name of this painting was The Crying Boy. Whoever kept it in their house, something happened to them which will send chills down your spine. England in the 1970s. Houses were small, walls were cold, but in almost every other home, the same painting hung on the wall. A child, an innocent face, deep, sad eyes, and tears flowing from those eyes. Not of paint, but of some unfinished pain. People called it the crying boy. Some looked at it with compassion. Some said, "It's just a painting, a piece of art." But no one knew that behind this innocent face was a silence. That was soon to turn into screams. 1985, a quiet area of England, Yorkshire. Ron and May Hall, an elderly couple, every evening drinking tea in their small home, listening to old songs on the radio, and then going to sleep. But that night, something was different. After midnight, neighbors saw smoke. The fire brigade was called. And when the fire was extinguished, all that was left was ashes. Furniture burned, curtains, walls, floor, all gone. Everything was destroyed. But one thing remained exactly the same. On the burnt wall hung the crying boy painting. Not burnt, not singed, not a single scratch. As if the fire had swallowed everything. Except that one innocent-looking face. That child, still, was staring out from the wall, just like before, as if it knew something. If you think that fire was just a coincidence, you are wrong, because Ron and May Hall's house was not the only one that burned that lonely night. In the following weeks, news came from different cities across England. Brighton, Leeds, Manchester, everywhere, burnt houses, and one thing that remained untouched. The crying boy, the same painting, the same face, the same tears. And after the fire, every time the painting was found intact. This was no longer just a scary tale. It had become a pattern. Fire brigade records collected dozens of such cases. Some called the painting lucky, but for most people, it became a curse. When the media connected these cases, a headline shook the whole country. The Curse of the Crying Boy. Now this was no innocent picture. It had become the face of a terrifying legend. Now, this story was no longer limited to paintings. People began to fear. Some tried to burn the painting. Some threw it in the trash. But every time, something bad happened. One woman said, "The night I threw the painting out, the electricity suddenly went off in my house, and the kitchen caught fire without any reason." One man tried to burn it, but the flames wouldn't catch. The painting just smoked, but never turned to ashes. Some started saying, this child was no ordinary child. It was a spirit, an abandoned orphan, who died in a fire, and now his spirit was trapped inside this painting. A church priest once said, "Do not bring this painting into your home. It is not holy." But by then, thousands of homes already had this painting. Fear had now reached the walls themselves. Behind every mystery, there is a person. And behind the crying boy was a painter, Giovanni Bragolin, born in Italy, later settled in England. He said, "I saw this boy in an orphanage. There was something in his eyes, something I could never forget." But then, years later, a terrible fire broke out in that same orphanage. Many children died. Rumors say that boy, the same boy whom Giovanni had captured in the painting, also died in that fire. But the story does not end here. Friends of Giovanni said he was never the same after the painting. He often became silent, was seen muttering alone in rooms as if he was seeing someone invisible to others. Some even said Giovanni had deliberately trapped the boy's spirit in the canvas because he wanted to immortalize the boy's pain. Now the question was this art or a trapped soul? When fear seeps out from the walls of houses and into people's hearts, they don't just remain afraid. They are compelled to act. One evening in 1985, In a small English town, thousands gathered the crying boy paintings. They had one goal to end this fear. In an open ground, under the fire brigade's watch, hundreds of paintings were set on fire. Flames rose, canvases burned, and people stood with their eyes closed, like a solemn ritual. But some paintings still did not burn completely. Some people said their eyes shone till the last moment, as if they were silently watching everything. After that night, news about the crying boy faded, as if the fear slowly vanished into the mist. But the question remains, can a painting really be that powerful? Or did we all just see our own fear in the eyes of that boy? An innocent face that the world never understood? If you found this story scary, then next time you see any painting, look into its eyes carefully. Maybe it's looking back at you? You were listening to Horror Hunt. If you liked this true story, please like the video and subscribe to the channel.